Good morning, everybody. This is Steve Barnett, and I am so pleased to be here with Andrew West. I am an agency owner and a top producer. I've been with Symmetry almost 4 years. I'm down in Daphne, Alabama, direct to regional agency director Beth Maddox, part of the Pappas Agency. Andrew, if you would introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, hey, Symmetry Nation. Andrew West here from Alabama, direct to Steve Barnett. I'm a team leader, been here full-time a little over a year, part-time 2 years, and so grateful to be able to plug in today and serve. It's been a dream, kind of a dream of mine ever since, plugging into Symmetry, been part-time with my job, listening to calls, and so honored to be able to give back today.
Wow, cool. So, the title was Recruiting with Insight. So I think, questions that can really change your life and change the life of the people that you're going to be working with. So first of all, Andrew, let's just go ahead and talk about insight and what does that word mean and why is it important?
Yeah, Steve. So I want to encourage everyone, grab a pen and paper because you'll forget about 80 to 90% of what you hear today if you don't write it down. And there's going to be some really valuable stuff we go over. So I'm excited. So insight. My favorite definition, Steve, is the ability to see into a situation beyond the obvious. So insight is the ability to see into a situation beyond the obvious, right? So even when we're in the home serving a family or over Zoom, right, and we're going through the presentation and we're asking questions, we're not just seeking to hear an answer, right? We're seeking to understand, right? Even with their why, a deeper meaning. So don't just take answers off surface level. We're seeking insight, reading into their situation.
Yeah, a lot of times we talk about understanding their why, right? Really digging deep and understanding their why. That's important when we're in the home. And obviously we're talking about recruiting, and we're really going to focus on warm market recruiting, including clients as warm market table recruits. But it's also understanding the why, understanding the circumstances of the people that we might be recruiting. So I think, though, first of all, Andrew, really, before we need to worry about gaining insight into the people's lives that we're recruiting and what their passions are, what they're wanting to do, we really need to gain insight into ourselves. Because, Giant talks about know yourself to lead yourself. And so there's some questions that can be life-changing that we really need to ask ourselves, first of all. And Phil Robertson is a great friend of mine. And if you ever have a chance to listen to Phil, he has always has some great ideas to share. And he uses an illustration. I'm going to attribute it to him. I don't know if it's his originally or not, but he talks about the red car illustration. So I want all of you to imagine if on this call, I said, look, today, I want you to go out and I'm going to give you my cell phone number. I want you to text me a photograph of every red car that you find. For every photo that you send me, I'm going to send you $1,000 per photo. Now, Andrew, if I gave you those instructions and that challenge, what do you think you'd be doing?
Man, I would, if you gave me that challenge, I would hop in my car immediately. And because I live kind of in the tree, so I'm not going to see anything here. So I would be going to the hospital, Walmart, a car dealership. I would go to the interstate. I would get around cars as soon as possible.
Yeah, right. And you'd be shooting me those red cars, right? And would that
making sure I've got some of the pictures.
That's right. Would that be a hard challenge?
No, because I know what I'm looking for. I'm going to find that car.
Yeah, you know exactly what you're looking for, right? Mm-hmm. See, the thing I think, Andrew, a lot of times why it's difficult to gain insight into who we're recruiting and how we're building our team is because many times people haven't taken the opportunity to define who they're looking for. And here's why this is important. When you start building your team, you got to look at that as a privilege, an opportunity. I mean, Brandon, Brian, and Casey have built something here that we have the opportunity to invite people in to join us in this opportunity. You have the opportunity to choose, maybe unlike any other environment, who you get to work with and who you want to work with and who you're going to bring on your team. And so you really need to view it from a mindset of, who am I going to allow to have access to this opportunity? And if you don't see it that way, then that's another question you need to ask yourself about why don't you see it that way? But when you think about who you're looking for, think about it from that mindset of who do I want to invite to join me now. So I want you to do a little exercise. I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to give you 15 seconds to do this. But I want you in 15 seconds to write down the 5 words that best describe the person that you're looking for to invite on your team. So get out a pen and paper like Andrew already asked you to. Get ready to jot this down. But I'm going to give you 15 seconds to write down the 5 words that describe the person that you're looking for. All right, so ready, go. Andrew, you don't need to do this, I know, because you've already got yours written down.
Thinking of playing some Jeopardy music.
Yeah, I know. I should have done that, but anyway, 15 seconds. Okay, 15 seconds is up. All right, so now you have 5 words written down there. Here's the first thing I would say. If you struggled thinking of 5 words, you don't know who you're looking for. You haven't defined who you're looking for. What you may be looking for may not be a red car. It may be a green car, or a blue car, a black car, a silver car. But if you can't write down the 5 words that best describe the person who you want on your team, you don't know what color car you're looking for. And you're probably going to take any car that comes along. Now, Andrew, you pretty well defined who you're looking for and the kind of person that you want to partner with, because this is an investment, right? I mean, we're investing energy, we're investing our life. Ideally, I mean, if we pick the right person, that's what we're doing anyway. Otherwise, we're spending time, and we don't want to be spending time. We want to be investing energy. So, Andrew, talk about the 3 or 4 top things that you're looking for the person that you want to invite into this opportunity with you.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, so you guys, I've got about 8 different things written down here, but I just want to cover the top 3. So I like to make it pretty simple for me to remember. So I think of head, heart, and hands. And for me, it starts with a servant's heart, right? My background, Steve, is in student music ministry. And so I look for people who are willing to even, wash someone's feet, right? So this servant's attitude, really looking to bless people. The second is a clear mind. And what I personally mean by that is a vision. They know who they are and where they're going, what they want to achieve, right? You have to have a big vision to know the steps to get there. And then third is capable hands. So they have the ability and the talent, but they don't just rely on the talent. They're consistently, the progressive realization of a really ideal takes a lot of growth, right? And so someone who's seeking to become the best version of themselves.
Now we didn't even talk about this, but whenever you went over that, so this is kind of impromptu, but how can you look for those things when you're sitting with a family? What would be some things that would tell you?
Yeah, absolutely. So it comes from natural rapport, not just asking random cheesy questions just to get them to answer so I can move on to the next part of my script, right? It's actually building a relationship. If you tell me, even in the going over your health history that you had cancer 5 years ago, okay, well, what if I take the time to actually stop and, oh my gosh, man, how did your family react during that time? That must have been tough. Really seeking their insight. How did they feel during that time? And so for me, it's really actually caring to connect with our families and hear their stories, get to hear their heart. That's how we have to ask good questions to truly understand someone.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, you could even note how the husband and wife treat each other. How do they, just how does he talk to her? How does she talk to him? You can really get an idea of their servant mindset, their heart for each other. And then hard work. I mean, what do they do for a living? What do they do when they're not working? I mean, how hard working are they? That's a big indicator. All right, good stuff. So again, it's always first of all, you got to know who you're looking for. Then as you're talking to people, whether it be on a call or, at a restaurant or whatever, you can ask questions and listen for insight to see, is it to get to know them, to see if this is an opportunity that you'd want to invite them into. All right, next. So the first question is, who are you looking for? The next question is, what do you believe about this opportunity? And I'm going to get, oh, by the way, on the last one, who are you looking for? If you wrote down five, if you could come up with 5 things in 15 seconds, if you threw that piece of paper away and 30 minutes later, someone came up to you and said, hey, define the 5, tell me the characteristics of the 5 people you're looking for, would you be able to repeat those things? Because they need to be so ingrained in your muscle memory, so ingrained in what's core to you that it's just not a problem describing the kind of person you're looking for. All right, so the next question to gain insight, what do you believe about this opportunity? And I'm going to give you my 5 beliefs. I always go over these every time I'm recruiting someone personally. During the conversation, these are always going to come up because I want them to know what I believe. And I want to know if their beliefs are in alignment with mine. They don't have to be, and there's nothing wrong if they're not. It just is a good indicator whether they're a good fit or not. So the first thing is, I believe that everyone should have the right and opportunity to achieve ownership if that's what they want and they're willing to work for it. The second one, and you don't worry about writing all these down. I mean, you can if you want to, but I'm not going to go that slow. And these are my beliefs anyway. You need to have your beliefs. So I'm just telling you what mine are. I believe that most people spend too much time building other people's dreams instead of building their own. I believe that hard work works, and people who want to make a significant impact and who want to earn significant income must work hard. I believe it is my highest calling to help people grow to the best version of themselves they're willing to work for. And finally, I believe that culture trumps just about everything. No matter how much money you make, if you hate what you're doing and you don't like who you're doing it with, it's never going to be enough. So my 5 beliefs involve ownership, dreams, hard work, self-development, and culture. Those are all 5 of those things are at the core of what this opportunity brings, and who I'm looking, the opportunity I'm inviting people to join into. All right, so who are you looking for? What do you believe? 2 big questions. The next question is, are you listening? Are you really listening? Are you asking the kind of questions that can give you the opportunity to gain insight? Now I'm going to do something because I took the opportunity. HQ is a fantastic resource, and if you're not using it, then you're missing out on a lot of information. But I went in and I actually am looking at the best script. Okay, so the script that we use to set appointments. In that script, there's a very key question you can ask to help you gain insight into, is this person a hard worker? Are they committed? Can they endure? Can they persevere? I mean, all those things are important, right? And you got to have grit and determination to really be successful here. So on the best script, question number 3, what do you do for work? Anything dangerous like a stuntman or rodeo clown? And that's designed to get a laugh. I usually ask, do you like jump out of planes or climb cell towers? Some kind of question to get them laughing to find out what they do for work. The next question is, well, what's your schedule like? Is it Monday through Friday, 9 to 5? Do you do shift work? Now, when we ask that question, what's the insight we're trying to gain, Andrew? We're trying to figure out when they work and when their spouse works, right?
We can set the appointment with them. Yep.
Right. So we know what time to offer an appointment. We don't want to offer an appointment when they're always going to be, we know that they're going to be busy. That would be pointless to offer an appointment when they know they're working. So you get those 2 bits of information, what they do for a living and what's their schedule like. The next one is, how long have you been there? Just a little added on question, just one extra little thing. How long have you been there? And then finally, do you love it? Do you love it? And there you're looking not just for what they say. What else, Andrew?
How they say it.
How they say it, absolutely. Because the guy says he works shift work, and sometimes he's working late, and sometimes early, and sometimes mids, and it's all over the place. And he's been doing that for 15 years. When you ask the question, do you love it? You're going to get a varied response. Sometimes they really do love it, and that's great. We want to know that people can love that kind of work. Because if you can love that, you can certainly love what we do for sure. A lot of times you're going to get kind of a lackadaisical, well, it's what I got to do, right? It pays good money, whatever. Now, in the appointment, Andrew, we have a really great opportunity to gain more tremendous insight. When does that happen?
Mm-hmm. So for me, Steve, that would be in the financial fire drill, as we're doing their needs analysis, their, suitability. you can clearly see if, would $500 extra a month change this family's life.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you get an idea of, and so let's say if let's say their income's really good, it's not tight as long as both of them are working. Everything's fine. They've got it made. They've got extra money. Remember, I mean, the folks that we want to invite into this opportunity, they really do need to have the ability to invest in their business. So the person who doesn't have two nickels to rub
Maybe
together.
Circle back if like one of the spouses travels for work and they hardly get in, they're hardly home. Like you can even discuss, well, do you guys want to be able to spend more time together?
Yeah. Exactly. So you have a tremendous amount. And so you see, excuse me, if they do lose one of those incomes, though, it's going to be tough. And then what's the plan? Almost always, most people say, well, I would just work more. Okay, well, so again, this is not really about recruiting, but where could you go to make an extra $2,000 above what you're already doing? With the hours that you're working. Most people don't really have a plan. That's the hope. They think they have a plan, and working more sounds like a great plan, but usually it's not feasible. And also another thing too, if your kids just lost one of the most important people in their life, is working more really a great option for you to be going more after they just lost one of their parents? Probably not a great idea. That's something you could use when you're just working with families, because it's not a great idea. But now you have insight, right? We have insight. We can see into a situation beyond the obvious, not just on what their needs are for mortgage protection, but we also have insight into how an opportunity could impact their life. All right, so now, Andrew, we're at the end of the call, and you are fantastic at this, and you've started building your team, warm market recruiting. So talk to me about at the end. We had the 5 R's, right, that we need to cover. If you don't know what the 5 R's, get with your upline, because you definitely should know what the 5 R's. One of them is recruiting. So how do you bring up the conversation at the end?
Yeah. So for me, the first thing is I typed it out and made it part of my presentation because I know if it's not in front of me, I'm going to forget it. So I have the question there typed out, even for referrals. Who do you know that would benefit for me? Sitting down with them, make sure they're fine, their family doesn't have financial and emotional devastation at the same time. And then the other one is, who do you know that would be open to additional income if it fit to their schedule? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they'll either say, oh, I know someone, let me get that information to them, or, well, me. I had a lady say that in September. She's like, I want to do it. And so that's a way. Or even Steve, if you've you use those questions we've talked about when you're setting the appointment, running the appointment, I can ask them like, hey, I think you'd be a great fit for this. Do you think you could do what I just did?
Yeah. And if you want to get, that's great, Andrew. I love that. And when I used to lead sales teams, I would tell the folks on the sales team the same thing. If you're really great at doing this, then you should be getting recruited all the time, right? The companies you go sell to should be trying to get you to come sell for them. So if you're on an appointment and you ask someone, do you think you could do what I just did? You need to ask everyone. I mean, part of the 5 R's needs to happen every time. So we need to be asking, do they know anyone who would like to earn additional income to fit into their schedule? We need to be asking that every time. Ask them, do you think that person, or do you think you could do what I just did? And here's some insight for yourself. If you ask that every time, say you're going into 10 to 15 homes a week, and you're asking that every time, and you're consistently having people say, no, they don't really think they could do that, or that they would want to do that, then I would just get with your upline and look at what you're doing. It really should not seem that difficult. It should seem pretty simple, because all you did was you called them. You called someone who asked you to call them. You set an appointment, then you had a Zoom or telephone appointment typically to go over their options and see what they qualify for and help them fill out an application. If you're consistently hearing, I don't really think I could do that, I don't know if this is for me, then maybe it's more about you than it is about them. and your skills and your polish as a salesperson instead of your wanting to serve a family and get them in the best position possible. Does that make sense, Andrew?
Yeah, that's good, brother.
Yeah. All right, cool. So, who are you looking for? What do you believe? Are you listening? The last one is, do you care? I mean, folks, look, there are so many people. Every family you sit with, most every family you sit with, lives would be transformed by an extra $2,000 or $3,000 a month. Almost all of them would be. If you don't believe that, or if you don't know that, you're probably not going through the financial fire drill and really digging into that, because that's the way that's the position most families are in. And if they are rock solid, then there's all kinds of other reasons why this still might be a great opportunity for them. So that doesn't really even matter. They know someone who does need an opportunity. They know someone who this would make a huge difference for. So it's just a matter of saying, do you care? Do you care enough to ask the questions? Do you care enough to really get good at asking the right questions so that you can gain insight, and listening with compassion, listening through the lens of what you're looking for and what this opportunity can do. That's where you can make a big impact in people's lives. So one exercise, again, this is from Phil Robertson. This is something you can do to kind of help you remember about recruiting. Every day, take 10 pennies, put them in your right pocket. Okay, put 10 pennies in your right pocket. Every time you talk to someone about this opportunity each day, move a penny to your left pocket. If you're doing virtual, then put it on the right side of your desk. And then every time you talk to someone, move a penny over to the left side of your desk. Your goal every day is to move the 10 pennies from the right to the left. Through the lens of who you're looking for, what do you believe? Are you listening? And really having a heart to care to impact people's lives. If you'll do that, and you'll do that consistently for 90 days, you won't recognize your business for 90 days. So thanks everyone for joining in, and appreciate all of you out there. Let's go out there and make it a great week. Bye-bye.